The life that doesn't feel heavy. Some people wake up calm. Not rich. Not famous. Not lucky. Just calm. No rush. No panic. No constant pressure in their chest. They don't look stressed. They don't look tired of life. And the strange part? They're not working harder than you. In fact, they often work less. Less hours. Less chaos. Less struggle. But somehow, their life looks easier. Money still comes. Bills still get paid. Progress still happens. But they're not running. They're not chasing. They're not constantly exhausted. So you start wondering, what do they know that I don't? Because if hard work was the answer, you should already be free. You've worked hard. Very hard. Long days. Late nights. Sacrificed weekends. You tried discipline. You tried motivation. You tried pushing yourself. And yet, life still feels heavy. Not dramatic. Just heavy. Like everything takes more effort than it should. Simple things feel complicated. Rest feels guilty. Success feels far away. It's like you're always doing something, but never arriving anywhere. And no one teaches you why. They just say, work harder. Push more. Grind now, rest later. But later never comes. Does it? There's always another goal. Another bill. Another responsibility. Another thing demanding your energy. So you keep going. Because stopping feels dangerous. And slowly, life becomes something you survive. Not something you enjoy. That's the part nobody says out loud. Most people aren't living. They're managing stress. Managing deadlines. Managing money. Managing expectations. Managing exhaustion. Always managing. Never breathing. But here's the truth that changes everything. And I want you to really hear this. Life is not supposed to feel this hard. Not constantly. Yes, effort is normal. Growth is normal. But constant pressure? Constant tension? Constant tiredness? That's not ambition. That's bad design. Read that again in your mind. Bad design. Because some people, quietly, have figured something out. They stopped fighting life. And started designing it. They don't rely on willpower. They rely on systems. They don't hustle all day. They set things up once. And let those things work for them. They don't chase money. Money flows through what they built. They don't cram their schedule. They protect their energy. They don't look impressive. They look peaceful. And peace is the real flex. Because what's the point of success if you're too tired to enjoy it? What's the point of money if you never feel free? What's the point of winning if life still feels heavy? That's not success. That's expensive stress. This audiobook isn't about grinding harder. It's not about 10 times your effort. It's not about waking up at 4 a.m. or pushing until you break. You've already tried that. And look where it got you. This is different. This is about something simpler, smarter, gentler. This is about building a life that doesn't require constant struggle to maintain. A life where money doesn't need you every second. Where your schedule isn't chaos. Where your mind isn't always racing. Where success feels light. Not heavy. Not rushed. Not exhausting. Light. Because here's what nobody tells you. The soft life isn't laziness. It's intelligence. It's systems. It's leverage. It's design. It's learning how to do less, but achieve more. It's building once and benefiting for years. It's removing friction, not adding pressure. It's calm progress instead of chaotic effort. And once you see it, you can't unsee it, because you'll start noticing something everywhere. The most successful people often look the least stressed. They're not running. They're steering. They're not exhausted. They're intentional. And that difference changes everything. So if you've ever felt like there has to be an easier way, there has to be a smarter way, I don't want my whole life to feel like work, then you're exactly where you need to be. Because in the next chapters, we're not going to push you. We're going to simplify. We're going to remove. We're going to design. Step by step. Until your life stops feeling heavy. And starts feeling intentional. This isn't hustle. This is the formula. The soft life formula. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Hustle Lie. Why you're tired even when you're doing everything right. Nobody planned to live this tired. Nobody woke up one day and said, I want my life to feel heavy. It just happened. Slowly. Quietly. So quietly you didn't even notice when it started. At first, you were motivated. You had goals, dreams, energy. You told yourself, I'll work hard now, rest later. Later. That word sounds so safe, so reasonable, so responsible. Later I'll slow down. Later I'll breathe. Later I'll enjoy life. After the grind. After the struggle. After the success. So you pushed. Like everyone told you to. Wake up early. Work harder. Learn more. Do more. Be more. Don't complain. Don't slow down. Don't fall behind. Because if you stop, someone else will pass you. So you kept running. Even when you were tired. Even when your body said rest. Even when your mind said enough. You ignored it. Because that's what serious people do. And at first, it worked. You got busier, more responsibilities. More tasks. More expectations. People started calling you hardworking. Responsible. Dependable. Those words felt good. They sound like praise. But here's what nobody tells you. Those same words quietly become chains. Because once you're dependable, everyone depends on you. More work. More pressure. More weight. And somehow, life never gets lighter. It only gets heavier. More money maybe, but less time. More progress maybe, but less peace. And you start feeling something strange. Something you can't explain. You're not failing, but you're not happy either. You're functioning, but exhausted. You're moving forward, but it doesn't feel good. It feels heavy. Every day feels heavy. Simple things feel hard. Getting out of bed feels hard. Answering messages feels hard. Thinking feels hard. Not because you're lazy, but because you're drained. And still, you blame yourself. Maybe I'm not disciplined enough. Maybe I need to push more. Maybe I'm just weak. So what do? You try harder. You add more habits. More routines. More pressure. Earlier mornings. Longer nights. Less rest. And instead of fixing the problem, you make it worse. Because here's the truth nobody says out loud. Working harder is not always the answer. Sometimes, working harder is the disease. Read that slowly in your mind. Working harder can be the thing destroying you. But hustle culture never admits that. It can't. Because hustle culture survives on guilt. If you're tired, you're lazy. If you rest, you're weak. If you slow down, you're falling behind. So you feel bad for being human. Bad for needing sleep. Bad for wanting peace. Think about how strange that is. You feel guilty for wanting a calm life. When did peace become laziness? When did rest become failure? Somewhere along the way, we started worshiping exhaustion. We praise people who never sleep. We admire people who are always stressed. We call burnout ambition and anxiety drive. But let me ask you something honestly. If success makes you miserable, is it really success? If money costs your health, is it really wealth? If achievement steals your peace, what exactly did you win? Nobody asks these questions. Because everyone is too busy running. Running where? Nobody knows. Just faster. Always faster. And you know what's scary? Even when you arrive, the feeling doesn't change. Because the problem isn't the destination. It's the design. You built a life that requires constant effort to survive. Of course you're tired. It's like carrying buckets of water every day, instead of building a pipe once. One way exhausts you forever. The other frees you forever. But nobody taught you to build pipes. They only taught you to carry buckets faster. So you kept carrying, and calling it strength. When really, it was unnecessary suffering. This is the hustle lie. The belief that struggle equals success. It doesn't. It never did. Struggle is sometimes necessary. But constant struggle? That's poor design. Not destiny. And here's the moment everything changes. The moment you realize, maybe life isn't supposed to feel this hard. Maybe success isn't supposed to feel this heavy. Maybe there's another way. A calmer way. Where you don't rely on motivation. Where you don't burn out every year. Where money doesn't depend on constant effort. Where your schedule doesn't own you. Where your mind is quiet. Not racing. That's not fantasy. It's design. And design can be learned. which means your exhaustion is not your personality. It's your system. And systems can be rebuilt. Gently. Slowly. Intentionally. This chapter isn't here to blame you. It's here to free you. Because you're not lazy. You're not weak. You're not broken. You're just following rules that were never built for peace. And from this point forward, we're going to unlearn them. We're going to stop chasing, stop forcing, and start designing. Designing income, designing time, designing energy, designing a life that feels lighter, not heavier. So if working harder isn't the answer, what is? If hustle isn't freedom, what actually is? And in the next chapter, we're going to uncover something even deeper. If hustle isn't the answer, then what is actually stealing your energy every day? It's not laziness. It's not discipline. It's something quieter. Something most people never notice. Complexity. Too many moving parts. Too many decisions. Too much noise. And that's what we're fixing next. If hustle made life heavy, complexity is what keeps it heavy. Let's simplify everything. Chapter 2: Complexity is stealing your life. Why everything feels harder than it should. Most people aren't tired because they're weak. They're tired because life feels complicated. Too complicated. Too many things. Too many decisions. Too many moving parts. From the moment you wake up, your brain is already working overtime. What time is it? Where's my phone? What do I have today? What did I forget yesterday? Before your feet even touch the floor, you're already behind. Already rushing. Already catching up. And nothing bad has even happened yet. It's just normal life. But normal life feels heavy. Heavier than it should. Look at your day honestly. Not dramatically. Just realistically. How many things are you juggling? Work. Messages. Family. Money. Deadlines. Health. Plans. Problems. Everything wants something from you. All the time. Your phone vibrates. Email. Notification. Reminder. Another request. Even resting isn't rest anymore. You're scrolling. Comparing. Thinking. Worrying. Your mind never really stops. It just switches tasks. And here's the part nobody explains. Your brain isn't tired from effort. It's tired from decisions. Constant decisions. Small ones. What to wear. What to eat. What to reply. What to prioritize. What to delay. What to fix first. Hundreds of tiny choices. Every single day. Each one small. But together? Exhausting. Have you noticed something strange? Even easy days feel draining. Not because you worked hard, but because you thought too much, planned too much, managed too much. It's like your brain never gets to sit down, never gets silence. This is the hidden weight, not effort. Complexity. Too many moving parts in your life. Too many open tabs. Mentally, emotionally, financially. Nothing feels simple anymore. Everything feels like maintenance. Even success looks complicated now. 10 side hustles. 5 apps. 20 strategies. Do this, do that, optimize everything. Wake up at 5. Cold shower. Journal. Gym. Podcast. Work. Network. Build. Grind. It sounds productive, but secretly, it sounds exhausting. Nobody says it out loud, but most success advice feels like another job, another list, another pressure, another thing you're failing to keep up with. So instead of feeling inspired, you feel behind. Always behind. Here's a question. When did life become this complicated? When did existing start feeling like project management? When did being alive require this much effort? It didn't happen overnight. It happened slowly. One extra responsibility at a time. One extra subscription. One extra bill. One extra commitment. One extra expectation. You kept adding. Because that's what growth looked like. More equals better. Right. More money. More work. More plans. More goals. More everything. But nobody taught you subtraction. Nobody taught you how to remove. So life became crowded. Crowded schedules. Crowded thoughts. Crowded days. Even your free time feels full. Full of catching up. And here's the crazy part. You blame yourself. You say, maybe I'm just bad at managing time. Maybe I'm not disciplined enough. No. It's not you. It's the design. Again. Bad design creates constant effort. Good design feels effortless. Think about something simple. A messy room. Every day you move things around. Looking for stuff. Fixing stuff. Cleaning stuff. It drains you. Not because cleaning is hard, but because the system is bad. Nothing has a place. Now imagine the same room, organized once. Everything has a spot. Suddenly life feels lighter. Same room. Less stress. That's design. Most people try to work harder inside messy systems, instead of fixing the system. So they feel tired forever. Forever managing chaos. And this is where the soft life begins. Not laziness. Not quitting. Not escaping responsibility. Just simplifying. Removing what doesn't matter. Automating what repeats. Designing what drains you. So you don't have to constantly fight your own life. Because here's something you'll notice. The calmest people don't have easier lives. They have simpler systems. Fewer moving parts. Fewer decisions. Fewer obligations. More clarity. More space. Space to think. Space to breathe. Space to exist without pressure. And once you feel that space, you never want to go back. Because you realize something shocking. Life was never supposed to feel this crowded. You just kept stacking things, without ever redesigning. So this chapter isn't telling you to try harder. It's telling you to pause. Look at your life. And ask one honest question. What can I remove? Not add. Remove. Because sometimes the fastest way forward is carrying less noise, less pressure, less chaos, more calm, more clarity, more control. And once life feels lighter, something beautiful happens. You start thinking better, making smarter choices, not rushed, not desperate, just clear. And clarity changes everything. So if complexity is draining you and hustle is exhausting you, then maybe the goal isn't doing more. Maybe it's doing less, but better, much better. In the next chapter, we talk about something dangerous most people never notice. Busy. How being busy feels productive, but quietly steals your life. Chapter 3. Busy is not productive. Why doing more is quietly stealing your life. There's a word people are proud of now. Busy. Ask someone how they're doing. They don't say good. They don't say peaceful. They say busy. Very busy. And somehow, it sounds like success. Think about it. When someone says they're busy, we respect them more. We assume they're important, in demand, needed. But nobody stops to ask something simple. Busy doing what? Because here's the quiet truth. Being busy doesn't mean you're progressing. It just means you're occupied. A hamster is busy too. Running all day. Fast. Constant motion. But at the end of the day, same place. And sometimes, that's exactly what life feels like. Motion without movement. Effort without progress. You wake up early. Rush through the day. Tasks. Calls. Messages. Deadlines. You barely sit down. Barely breathe. By night, you're exhausted. But if someone asked you, what actually changed today? You'd pause. Because it's hard to answer. You did a lot. But did anything really move forward? Or did you just maintain everything? Putting out fires. Answering demands. Reacting. That's the difference nobody teaches. There's work, and then there's progress. They're not the same. Work feels urgent. Progress feels intentional. Work is loud. Progress is quiet. Work drains you. Progress builds you. But busy life tricks you. It mixes everything together. So you can't tell the difference anymore. You start believing something dangerous. If I'm tired, I must be productive. If I'm exhausted, I must be working hard. If I'm always running, I must be winning. No, not always. Sometimes you're just scattered. Imagine trying to fill a bucket with 10 tiny spoons, running back and forth, sweating, working hard. It looks impressive, but it's slow. Now imagine using one pipe. Calm, steady, no running, no stress. Water just flows. Which one is smarter? Exactly. Busy people use spoons. Calm builders install pipes. But the world celebrates spoons. Because it looks like effort, it looks like sacrifice. It looks heroic. Pipes look boring. Quiet. Simple. Nobody claps for simple. but simple wins. This is why you feel stuck sometimes. Not because you're lazy, not because you're incapable, but because your days are full of maintenance. Answering instead of creating, reacting instead of designing, responding instead of building. Your whole life becomes reaction mode. Ping, reply, fix, solve, repeat. You're always putting out small fires, so you never build anything fireproof. And the worst part, you feel guilty resting. Because you think, if I'm not busy, I'm falling behind. So even your rest becomes fake. Scrolling, checking, half working, half worrying. Your brain never gets silence, only noise. And noise makes everything feel heavy, even simple tasks. Let me ask you something honestly. When was the last time you had a slow day, without feeling guilty, without feeling like you should be doing something? Most people can't remember, because we've been trained to equate stillness with failure. But here's the truth successful people quietly understand. Busyness is not a badge of honor. It's usually poor design. If your system needs you every second, it's broken. If everything collapses when you pause, it's fragile. Real progress doesn't look frantic. It looks calm, structured, deliberate. Because when something is designed well, it runs smoothly, without constant babysitting. Think about traffic. Chaos feels busy. Honking, rushing, stress. But nobody moves. Now think about an empty highway. Calm, open. You reach faster, with less effort. That's the goal. Not more speed, more space. Space in your schedule, space in your mind, space in your life. Because space creates clarity, and clarity creates smart decisions. And smart decisions beat hard work every time. This is where the soft life starts feeling real. You stop asking, how can I do more today? And start asking, what actually matters today? Most things don't. Honestly, they just feel urgent, not important. So you begin cutting, removing, simplifying. Fewer tasks, fewer obligations, fewer distractions. Not laziness, precision. Because when you only focus on what truly moves your life, you progress faster with half the effort. That's the secret nobody markets. Because do less doesn't sell courses. But it works. Quietly. Powerfully. So if you've been feeling tired, not from effort, but from constant motion, now you know why. You weren't lacking discipline. You were drowning in noise. And noise is expensive. It steals energy, steals time, steals life. So maybe the goal isn't becoming more productive. Maybe it's becoming less busy, less noise, more intention, less rushing, more design. Because when life slows down, something magical happens. You finally start moving forward. So if busyness isn't progress, then what are we actually chasing? Why does everyone keep pushing harder, even when it makes them miserable? Because there's another trap. A deeper one. The belief that success must feel heavy. That struggle equals worth. Next chapter, We talk about that illusion. The success trap. Chapter 4. The success trap. Why achieving more still doesn't feel like enough. There's something strange about success. Nobody talks about it. Because from the outside, it looks perfect. You set a goal. You work hard. You achieve it. You're supposed to feel happy. That's the story we were told. Work hard, succeed, feel fulfilled. Simple. Clean. Logical. But real life doesn't follow that script. Does it? Think about the last thing you worked really hard for. A job. A promotion. Money. A milestone. Remember how badly you wanted it? How you told yourself, once I get this, everything will feel better. Then you got it. And for a moment, maybe a day, maybe a week, you felt proud. But then something strange happened. The feeling faded. Life didn't suddenly feel lighter. It didn't feel easier. It didn't feel peaceful. Instead, a new pressure showed up. New expectations. New responsibilities. New stress. And before you even had time to breathe, you were chasing the next thing. Next goal. Next level. Next achievement. It never stopped. It just moved. Like a horizon. You walk toward it, but it keeps getting further away. That's when most people quietly think something scary. But why am I still not happy? You did everything right. Worked hard. Stayed disciplined. Sacrificed. So why does life still feel heavy? Why does peace still feel far? Because nobody warned you about this. Success can become a trap too. Not failure. Success. There's a version of success that looks impressive, but feels exhausting. The kind where your income grows, but your freedom shrinks. Where your responsibilities multiply, but your time disappears. Where people respect you more, but you enjoy your life less. That's not winning. That's upgrading your cage. A nicer cage. A shinier cage. But still, a cage. Because think about it. If every achievement makes life heavier, what exactly are you building? More money. Less sleep. More status. Less peace. More responsibility. Less freedom. That trade doesn't make sense. But we accept it. Because society claps for busy success. Not peaceful success. We celebrate the person who says, I only sleep 4 hours. We admire the one who says, I'm always stressed but grinding. We call that ambition. But honestly, it's just exhaustion with good marketing. Somewhere along the way, we started believing something dangerous. If it's easy, it's not valuable. If it's calm, it's not success. If you're not tired, you're not trying hard enough. That belief quietly ruins lives. Because it teaches you to distrust ease. Even when something works smoothly, you feel suspicious. Like you should be struggling more. So you add pressure. Add more goals. Add more tasks. You complicate what could have been simple. Just to feel serious. That's the success trap. Mistaking difficulty for value. Let me tell you something gently. Something most people need to hear. Hard is not always better. Heavy is not always meaningful. Sometimes, heavy just means inefficient. Think about lifting a box. If it's too heavy, you don't prove strength by suffering. You use a tool, a cart, leverage. But with life, we do the opposite. We refuse tools and call suffering character. No, that's just unnecessary pain. Because real success, the kind you actually want, should make life lighter, not heavier. It should create space, not pressure, time, not chaos, calm, not constant anxiety. If your success steals your peace, it's not success. It's just a better paying problem. And here's something powerful. Some people already figured this out. Look closely at truly wealthy people. Not the loud ones. The quiet ones. They don't look rushed. They don't look stressed. They're not always running. They move slowly, deliberately, calmly. Because they stopped chasing bigger lives and started designing better ones. They ask different questions. Not, how can I earn more? But, how can I need less effort to earn? Not, how can I work longer? But, how can I work smarter once? Not, how do I handle more responsibility? But, how do I remove unnecessary responsibility? That's a completely different game. A calmer game. Because the goal isn't bigger. It's lighter. Not more. Better. Not louder. Simpler. This is the moment you start redefining success. Quietly. Privately. Success isn't how much you carry. It's how little you have to carry. Success isn't how tired you are. It's how rested you feel. Success isn't constant hustle. It's stable systems. Because systems don't burn out. People do. So maybe the real flex isn't working all the time. It's not needing to. Imagine that. Waking up calm. Not because you quit life, but because life is designed well. That's where we're heading. Not bigger stress. Better structure. So if chasing success makes life heavier, and busyness isn't progress, then what are we actually addicted to? Why do we keep pushing ourselves so hard? Because there's one more hidden pattern. One that keeps you overworking, even when you don't need to. It's not ambition. It's conditioning. Next chapter, we talk about something subtle. Something almost invisible. Effort addiction. Why you feel uncomfortable when things are easy. Chapter 5. Effort addiction. Why you feel guilty when life gets easier. There's something strange about you. And you've probably never noticed it. When life gets easier, you don't relax. You get uncomfortable. Almost suspicious. Like something is wrong. Like you forgot something. Like you should be doing more. Even when nothing is wrong. Even when everything is handled. Even when you finally have space to breathe. You still can't sit still. Your mind starts searching. What should I be doing? What am I missing? Why am I not busy? And without realizing it, you create work. You add tasks. Add pressure. Add noise. Because calm feels unfamiliar. And unfamiliar feels unsafe. That's not discipline. That's conditioning. You weren't trained to rest. You were trained to strain. From childhood, effort was everything. If something is hard, it must be valuable. If something is easy, it must be lazy. So you learned something dangerous. You learned to trust struggle more than ease. Read that again in your mind. You trust struggle more than ease. Which means, even when life gives you a smooth road, you go looking for rocks. Just to feel productive. Just to feel worthy. This is effort addiction. And almost everyone has it. It's subtle. Quiet. Nobody brags about it. But everyone lives it. Think about your average day. Be honest. How many things are truly necessary? And how many are just habits? Extra checking. Extra worrying. Extra pushing. You're tired, but you still add more. Because slowing down feels wrong. Almost guilty. Where did that guilt come from? Nobody ever explained it. But it started early. Very early. When you were young, rest was treated like a reward, not a right. You can play after homework. You can relax after chores. You can enjoy after you finish everything. After life became one long after. Rest always postponed. Peace always delayed. Later. But later never really comes. Because there's always something else to finish. So you grow up believing something quietly toxic. I don't deserve rest yet. Not yet. Not enough. Not productive enough. Not successful enough. So even when you finally have free time, you don't enjoy it. You fill it. Phone. Emails. Side tasks. Improvement. Always optimizing. Never existing. You know what's ironic? The body isn't built for constant output. Nothing in nature is. Look outside. Trees don't grow non-stop. They rest. The ocean doesn't push non-stop. It flows. Day turns into night. Activity turns into stillness. Everything moves in cycles. Except humans. We try to live like machines. Constant output. Constant performance. Constant pressure. And then we wonder why we're exhausted. Of course you're exhausted. You removed the rhythm. You deleted rest. You replaced cycles with grind. No system survives that. Not even you. Especially not you. But here's where it gets deeper. Effort addiction isn't just physical. It's emotional. Psychological. Because effort makes you feel useful. Valuable. Important. When you're busy, you feel safe. Like you matter. Like you're doing enough. So when things get easy, you feel invisible. Unproductive. Almost lazy. Even if everything is working perfectly. That's how deep the conditioning goes. You don't trust ease. Because nobody praised ease. Nobody celebrated calm. Nobody said, "Wow, you look peaceful. You're doing great." They said, "Wow, you're so busy. You're doing great." Busy became identity. And now, without busyness, You don't know who you are. So you recreate chaos. Just to feel normal. But listen carefully. Busyness is not purpose. Effort is not value. Struggle is not strength. Sometimes, ease is intelligence. Calm is mastery. And simplicity is power. The most efficient systems look boring, quiet, smooth. But they work. Without drama. Without burnout. Without collapse. That's what we're aiming for. Not heroic effort. Not daily exhaustion. But quiet effectiveness. A life where things just function, without you forcing them. Where money flows because of systems, not because of constant sacrifice. Where time feels open, not crowded. Where you don't feel guilty for resting. Because rest is part of the design. That's when you know you're free. So now you've seen it. The hustle lie. The success trap. Effort addiction. All pushing you toward one thing. Constant pressure. But what if there's actually an easier way? Not lazy. Not unrealistic. Just smarter. Calmer. More intentional. In the next chapter, we finally shift. From struggle to design. Chapter 6. There is an easier way. Why life isn't supposed to feel this hard. What if nothing is wrong with you? Not your discipline. Not your intelligence. Not your ambition. What if the problem isn't you, but the way you were taught to live? Pause there. Because that question alone can change everything. For years you've been blaming yourself. I should try harder. I should be stronger. I should be more focused. Every struggle became personal. Like a character flaw. Like you were failing life. But what if life wasn't meant to feel like a fight in the first place? What if you've been climbing the wrong mountain, using the wrong map, playing the wrong game? Because think about this carefully. If something requires constant force, constant pressure, constant pushing, it usually means it's poorly designed. Not destiny. Design. Look at anything that works well. Really well. A door that opens smoothly. A car that runs quietly. A phone that responds instantly. They don't fight you. They flow. Effortless. Because good design feels easy. Bad design feels heavy. So here's the uncomfortable truth. If your entire life feels heavy, it's not because life is hard, it's because the system you're living in is. You weren't designed for constant stress. No human is. But somewhere along the way, we normalized struggle. We made difficulty look noble. And ease look suspicious. So when something feels easy, you don't trust it. You think, this can't be right. Real success must be harder than this. But that belief is exactly what keeps you tired, because it forces you to reject the simplest path and choose the hardest one every time. Let me show you something small, something ordinary. Imagine two people, same city, same age. Same opportunities. The first person works non-stop. Always busy. Always stressed. Always pushing. They wear exhaustion like a badge. Like proof they're serious. The second person looks different. They move slower, calmer. They don't rush everything. They don't react to every little thing. They plan once, then let things run. They automate. They simplify. They remove unnecessary work instead of adding more. And somehow they end up ahead. More money, more time, more peace, less drama, less exhaustion, less noise. From the outside, it looks unfair. How are they doing better while working less? But it's not luck. It's design. They stopped asking, "How can I work harder?" and started asking, "How can this work without me?" That one question changes everything. Because effort is limited. Systems are not. You get tired. Systems don't. You sleep. Systems keep running. You burn out. Systems keep earning. So if your life depends only on your effort, you will always feel pressure. But if your life depends on systems, you feel lighter. Because things move, even when you don't. And here's where most people miss it. They think easy means lazy. It doesn't. It means efficient. There's a huge difference. Lazy avoids effort. Efficient removes unnecessary effort. Lazy escapes responsibility. Efficient designs smarter responsibility. Lazy collapses. Efficient flows. One is avoidance. The other is intelligence. But because we were raised on hustle, we confuse the two. So we keep choosing pain, when relief was available the whole time. Let me say something gently. You don't need more willpower. You need fewer moving parts. You don't need more motivation. You need better design. You don't need to grind harder. You need to simplify deeper. Because complexity is exhausting. Simplicity is freeing. Most people's lives are complicated for no reason. Too many commitments. Too many goals. Too many shoulds. So they drown in maintenance. Just keeping life running. They don't have energy to live. Only energy to survive. But the soft life is different. It's not luxury. It's clarity. It's choosing fewer things, but choosing them well. It's building once, instead of fixing daily. It's asking, how do I make this easier forever? Not, how do I survive today? That shift is the beginning of freedom. And once you taste it, you never want to go back. Because you realize something shocking. Life can feel light. Not rushed. Not heavy. Not constantly urgent. Light. Calm mornings. Clear decisions. Steady money. Quiet mind. No drama. No panic. Just flow. And that's not fantasy. It's simply better design. So now you know something most people never stop to consider. Life isn't heavy because you're weak. It's heavy because it's badly designed. Not cursed. Not unlucky. Just poorly built. Like carrying groceries one by one, when you could have used a cart. Like walking everywhere, when you could have built a road. For years, you thought the answer was effort. Push harder. Wake earlier. Sleep later. But effort without design just makes you tired faster. It doesn't make life lighter. It just makes you stronger at suffering. And that's what most people become. Very strong. Very capable. Very exhausted. Because nobody taught them something simple. Something almost obvious. Before you work harder, you're supposed to design better. Before you add effort, you remove friction. Before you run faster, you choose the right direction. That's how calm people move through life. Not because they're lucky. Because they think first, then act. They don't build lives they have to constantly survive. They build lives that quietly support them. So instead of asking, "How can I do more?" they ask something smarter. How can this be easier? That one question changes everything. And it's the beginning of the soft life. Not laziness. Not escape. Just intelligent design. So before we talk about money, before we talk about systems, before we talk about income that runs without you, we need to fix something deeper. How you build your days. How you build your work. How you build your life itself. Because if you design badly, even success will feel heavy. But if you design well, even hard things feel light. So let's slow down for a moment and learn the skill nobody teaches in school. The skill that makes everything else easier. Design. Before work. Chapter 7. Design before you work. Most people wake up and immediately start reacting. Alarm rings. Phone lights up. Messages. Deadlines. Noise. Before their feet even touch the floor, the day has already grabbed them. And from that moment on, they're chasing. Chasing time. Chasing tasks. Chasing money. Chasing relief. All day feels like catching up, but never arriving. And by night, they're exhausted. Not because life is impossible, but because they never got to choose it. It just happened to them. All day. That's how most people live. React first. Think later. Work first. Design never. But calm people don't live like that. Not because they're smarter. Not because they're lucky. They just do one thing differently. One small thing. They pause. Before they move. They think. Before they work. They design. Before they build. That sounds simple. Almost too simple. But it changes everything. Let me show you something. Picture two people. Both want water. Both are thirsty. The first person starts running, searching everywhere, carrying buckets, walking back and forth, sweating, struggling, working harder and harder. The second person stops, looks around, studies the land, and then builds a pipe. It takes longer at the beginning, yes. It looks slower, maybe even lazy. But once the pipe is built, water flows. Without effort, without running, without exhaustion. Now ask yourself honestly, Which one looks smarter? The one sprinting forever, or the one who designed once? Most of us were taught to sprint. Nobody taught us to design. School trained you to follow instructions, not create systems. Jobs trained you to execute tasks, not redesign the game. So you became very good at doing, but not very good at thinking. Very good at effort, but not very good at ease. And here's the quiet truth. Effort is expensive. Every hour you work manually costs energy, costs time, costs life. But design pays you back. Design is the only work that reduces future work. Read that again in your mind. Design reduces future work, while hustle multiplies it. Think about your daily life. Really think. How many problems do you solve every single day that you could have solved once? Answering the same questions, repeating the same tasks, fixing the same mistakes, chasing the same money, over and over, like a loop. That's not hard work. That's poor design. Let's make it practical. Very simple. Imagine cooking every meal from scratch, every single day. Shopping daily, chopping daily, cooking daily, cleaning daily. You'd be exhausted. Life would feel heavy. But if you meal prep once, suddenly the week feels lighter. Same food, less effort. That's design, not hustle. Now apply that to everything. Your work, your income, your time. What if you stopped asking, how can I work more? And started asking, how can I need to work less? That one question is the beginning of the soft life. Because soft life doesn't mean lazy. It means efficient. It means intentional. It means calm. It means building systems that support you instead of draining you. Here's something most people don't realize. Peace is not a personality trait. It's a structure, a design. Some people aren't calm because they're naturally relaxed. They're calm because their life isn't chaotic. Their money isn't fragile. Their schedule isn't packed. Their systems handle most things, so their mind can rest. Your brain isn't tired because you're weak. It's tired because you're managing too much manually. Too many decisions. Too many tasks. Too many small fires. Decision fatigue is real, and hustle culture multiplies it. Design removes decisions, which removes stress. That's why rich, calm, peaceful people often look slower. They're not rushing, because nothing is chasing them. Their life is pre-built, pre-decided, pre-designed. They don't wake up and figure everything out. They already structured it. And structure creates freedom. Which sounds backwards, but it's true. Chaos feels free, but it traps you. Structure feels strict, but it frees you. Because when things are organized, your mind is light. And when your mind is light, life feels soft. So from today, before you work harder, before you add effort, before you push yourself again, pause. Ask one question. How can I design this better? How can this be easier? How can this run without me? Those questions build freedom. Not more hustle. Not more stress. Freedom is not built by force. It's built by design. And once you understand that, you stop admiring exhaustion. You start admiring simplicity, calm, space, time. Because time is the real wealth. Once you stop rushing, something surprising happens. Your life doesn't just get easier. Your mind gets quieter. And when your mind is quiet, you make better choices. Not emotional choices. Not desperate choices. Clear ones. Intentional ones. Because peace isn't just a feeling. It's an advantage. A decision-making advantage. And most people never experience it, because they're always stressed. So before we talk about time, we need to talk about something more important. Calm, clarity, peace. Chapter 8. Peace creates better decisions. Most mistakes don't happen because you're stupid. They happen because you're tired. Read that again in your mind. Not stupid. Tired. Exhausted people don't choose badly on purpose. They choose badly because their brain is overloaded. Because when your mind is noisy, everything feels urgent. And when everything feels urgent, nothing is clear. So you rush. You react. You guess. You survive. Not because that's who you are, but because that's what stress does to the brain. Think about the last time you made a decision you regretted. A bad money choice. A rushed yes. A promise you shouldn't have made. A job you accepted too fast. Were you calm that day? Or overwhelmed? Were you peaceful? Or pressured? Because here's something nobody teaches you. Peace isn't just comfort. Peace is intelligence. Calm people think better. Calm people see clearer. Calm people choose wiser. Stress makes you short-sighted. Peace makes you strategic. And that difference quietly changes your entire life. The hidden cost of a busy mind. Most people live inside noise. Constant noise. Notifications. Deadlines. Expectations. Bills. Pressure. Comparison. Your brain never rests. Even when your body is sitting still. You're always thinking. Always calculating. Always worrying. What's next? What did I forget? What if this fails? How do I catch up? So when it's time to make a decision, you don't think. You escape. You choose whatever reduces pressure fastest. Not what's best long term. Just what hurts less right now. That's how people stay stuck. Not because they lack talent. Because they lack calm. And without calm, everything becomes survival. Survival mode versus design mode. There are two ways to live. Only two. Survival mode and design mode. Survival mode says, fix today. Handle now. Stop the fire. Design mode says, build something that prevents fires. Most people live in survival forever. Always reacting. They don't design their life. They respond to it. Bills appear. They react. Problems appear. They react. Work piles up. They react. Reaction is exhausting because it never ends. But design requires something most people never give themselves. Silence. Time to think. Time to breathe. Time to step back and ask, what would make this easier forever? That question never shows up in a busy mind. Because busy minds only ask, what's next? Why calm people move faster? Here's the strange paradox. The calmer you are, the faster your life improves. Not slower, faster. Because stressed people repeat mistakes. Calm people avoid them. Stressed people chase. Calm people plan. Stressed people start 10 things. Calm people finish one thing. And finishing one thing is more powerful than starting 10. Think about builders. Real builders. They don't rush randomly. They measure first. They plan. They design. Because fixing mistakes later costs more time. Your life works the same way. Planning saves pain. The myth of move faster. The world tells you something dangerous. Move faster. Act now. Don't overthink. Sometimes that's useful, but most of the time, it's expensive, because speed without clarity is chaos. It's running in the wrong direction. But faster. That doesn't get you there sooner. It just gets you lost quicker. Peace slows you down just enough to aim correctly. And aiming correctly saves years. The soft life secret. People who live softly aren't lucky. They're not lazy. They're deliberate. They protect their nervous system like it's gold. Because they understand something most people miss. Your state determines your decisions. And your decisions determine your life. So protecting peace protects everything. If you're calm, you invest smarter. If you're calm, you say no faster. If you're calm, you don't accept bad deals. If you're calm, you don't chase things you don't even want. Peace filters nonsense automatically. A small exercise. Try something simple. Nothing complicated. Before your next big decision, don't decide immediately. Sleep on it. Walk. Breathe. Let your mind settle. Then decide. Notice the difference. The clarity. It feels obvious. Like the answer was always there. That's what peace does. The real upgrade. Most people upgrade their tools. Their phone. Their laptop. Their car. But they never upgrade their state. And state matters more. Because a stressed mind with perfect tools still makes poor decisions. But a calm mind with basic tools wins slowly and steadily. And slow, steady wins always last longer. The shift. So from today, stop chasing speed. Start protecting calm. Stop filling every hour. Start leaving space. Because space is where clarity lives. And clarity is where good decisions are born. And good decisions quietly build good lives. You don't need more hustle. You need more quiet. You don't need more effort. You need better thinking. And better thinking only happens when your mind isn't fighting for survival. Peace first, then progress. Not the other way around. Because once your mind is calm, something surprising happens. You stop wasting your most valuable resource. Not money, time. And you start realizing something powerful. Time is the real wealth. Chapter 9. Time is the real wealth. Most people think they want money, but if you listen carefully, what they really want is time. Time to rest, time to breathe, time to wake up slowly, time to sit with their family, time to think, time to exist without pressure. Nobody dreams about numbers. Nobody fantasizes about bank statements. They fantasize about freedom. And freedom is always time. Time to choose. Time to say no. Time to not rush. But somewhere along the way, we got confused. We started chasing money, thinking money would give us time. Then we traded all our time to get that money, and somehow ended up with neither. Think about that carefully. It's strange. You wake up early, rush through traffic, sit at a desk all day, come home tired, too tired to enjoy anything, sleep, repeat. And you call that earning a living. But are you really living? Or just maintaining survival? Because if your entire day is already owned, what exactly did the money buy you? The quiet trade nobody notices. There's a trade happening every day. A quiet trade. So quiet, most people never question it. You give your time and get paid. At first it feels fair, logical, normal. But here's the hidden problem. Time is not renewable. Money comes back. Time doesn't. You can lose money and earn it again. But you can't lose a year and get it back. Once today ends, it's gone forever. And yet, we trade our days like they're cheap. 8 hours here, 10 hours there. Years disappear quietly, until one day you look back and think, where did all that time go? That question hits differently, because you know the answer. Work. Just work. The illusion of more money equals better life. We're taught something early, something that sounds smart, but is dangerously incomplete. Make more money and life gets better. But look around. Does that really seem true? Some of the highest paid people are the most exhausted. Always busy, always stressed. Always almost free. Always saying, just a few more years. But a few more years becomes 10, then 20. And suddenly life is half gone, waiting to finally rest. That's not wealth. That's postponing life. What real wealth actually looks like. Let's redefine something. Slowly. Wealth is not how much money you have. It's how many days you control. Can you wake up without an alarm? That's wealth. Can you take a random Tuesday off? That's wealth. Can you say no to work you hate? That's wealth. Can you spend time with someone you love, without checking the clock? That's wealth. Because time ownership is freedom, and freedom is the real goal. The dangerous sentence. There's a sentence many people say, without thinking. I don't have time. Listen carefully to that. Not I don't want to. Not it's not important. I don't have time. Which means something else owns it. Your job, your schedule, your obligations. If you don't own your time, you don't really own your life. You're renting it. The soft life realization. This is where the soft life mindset changes everything. It asks a different question. Not, how can I earn more money? But, how can I need less of my time to earn? That tiny shift changes the whole game. Because now you're not chasing bigger effort. You're designing smarter systems. You're not saying, I'll work 12 hours. You're saying, how can this work without me? That's leverage. And leverage protects time. The math nobody shows you. Imagine this. Person A works 10 hours a day. Makes good money. No time. Person B works 3 hours a day. Makes slightly less. Has freedom. Who's richer? Most people say person A, because the number is bigger. But think deeper. Person B owns 7 extra hours every day. 7. That's almost a second life. Time to learn. Time to rest. Time to build something else. Over 10 years. That gap becomes massive. So who's really wealthier? The feeling you're actually chasing money is just a tool. It's not the goal. The goal is the feeling money promises. Safety, choice, freedom. And all those feelings come from time. Time to choose. Time to breathe. Time to live slowly, not rush endlessly. The quiet decision. At some point, you have to decide something quietly. Do I want a bigger life or a freer life? Because they're not always the same. Bigger looks impressive. Freer feels peaceful. And peace is what most people secretly want. The new rule. From today, measure wealth differently. Not just by income, by hours. How many hours are truly yours? That number tells the truth about your freedom. And from now on, every decision should protect that number, not reduce it. Because one day, you won't remember how much you earned. But you will remember how you spent your days. Whether you were rushed, or calm, busy, or present. Time is the real wealth. And once you understand that, you stop building a life that consumes you, and start building one that supports you. Once you realize time is the real wealth, something strange happens. You stop wanting more. You start wanting less. Less noise. Less rushing. Less obligations. Because you notice something quietly. Most of your exhaustion isn't from doing hard things. It's from doing too many things. Too many goals. Too many commitments. Too many yes. Your life isn't heavy because it's difficult. It's heavy because it's crowded. And crowded lives leave no room to breathe. So the next step isn't adding more. It's removing. Not chasing bigger. Choosing fewer. Because sometimes the softest life doesn't come from earning more. It comes from needing less. Chapter 10. Less but better. There's something nobody tells you about exhaustion. It's not always from doing hard things. Most of the time, it's from doing too many things. Too many tasks. Too many decisions. Too many expectations. Your life isn't heavy because it's difficult. It's heavy because it's crowded. Crowded schedules. Crowded thoughts. Crowded obligations. You wake up, and before the day even starts, you're already behind. Messages waiting. Emails waiting. People waiting. Bills waiting. Everything wants something from you, all at once. And you tell yourself, this is just adulthood. This is just life. But pause for a second. Really pause. Was life always meant to feel like this? Or did we just slowly accept the chaos? Because here's something strange. The calmest people you know aren't doing more than you. They're doing less, but better. They don't rush. They don't juggle everything. They don't say yes to every request. They're selective, intentional, careful. And from the outside, it almost looks lazy. But it's not laziness. It's design. The hidden addiction. Let me tell you something uncomfortable. Most people aren't addicted to work. They're addicted to feeling busy. Busy feels important. Busy feels productive. Busy feels safe. If you're busy, you don't feel behind. So you keep adding things. More goals. More plans. More commitments. More courses. More side hustles. More opportunities. Until your life becomes a never-ending to-do list. And the worst part, half of those things don't even matter. But you can't tell anymore, because everything feels urgent. That's the trap. When everything is important, nothing actually is. The illusion of progress. Have you ever had one of those days where you were busy from morning till night? Moving non-stop, checking tasks, running around, and at the end of the day, you sit down and feel like you did nothing meaningful. Just tired. Mentally empty. That's not lack of effort. That's scattered effort. Effort spread too thin loses power. Like sunlight, soft and warm, but focused through a lens. It can start fire. Your life is the same. Scattered energy warms nothing. Focused energy changes everything. A question that changes everything. Let me ask you something simple, but dangerous. If you could only keep 3 things in your life, 3 responsibilities, 3 goals, 3 priorities, only 3, What would actually stay? And what would disappear? Because most of what fills your days wouldn't make that list. We carry too much, not because we need to, but because we never stop to choose. The power of subtraction. Everyone talks about adding. Add skills. Add work. Add habits. Add income. But almost nobody teaches subtraction. Remove noise. Remove obligations. Remove friction. Yet subtraction is where freedom lives. Think about a room. When it's full of clutter, you feel tight. When it's clean and open, you feel calm. Same room. Less stuff. More peace. Your life works exactly like that. It's not always about building more. Sometimes it's about removing most. So what if, instead of trying to do everything, you did fewer things, but did them properly? What if, instead of 10 weak projects, you focused on one strong system? What if, instead of saying yes automatically, you paused and asked, does this actually matter? Or am I just afraid to say no? Because every yes is a hidden no. Yes to extra work means no to rest. Yes to everyone else means no to yourself. Yes to busy means no to peace. Less but better. There's a quiet philosophy successful people follow. They rarely talk about it, but they live by it. Less but better. Not 10 income streams. One strong one first. Not 50 goals. One clear direction. Not constant hustle. Small consistent systems. Because better scales. Busy burns out. Busy is loud. Better is quiet. Busy impresses people. Better frees you. Designing your days. Imagine this. You wake up. No rushing. No chaos. Only 2 or 3 important things to handle. Not 20. You finish them calmly. Properly. And the rest of your day is yours. To think. To rest. To create. To live. That's not laziness. That's efficiency. Because the goal isn't to look busy. The goal is to be free. The hard truth. Most people will never choose this. Not because it's impossible, but because it feels uncomfortable at first. Doing less feels wrong. You feel guilty, like you should be doing more. That guilt is conditioning. Years of hustle culture, teaching you your worth equals effort. But your worth was never meant to be measured by exhaustion. The quiet decision. So maybe the next step in your life isn't to add another goal. Not another project. Not another hustle. Not another pressure. Maybe it's simply this. Remove one thing. Just one. Something unnecessary. Feel the space it creates. Feel the lightness. Then remove another. And another. Until your life starts breathing again. Instead of suffocating you. You don't need more strength. You don't need more discipline. You don't need to become someone else. You just need less weight, less noise, less rushing, less pressure, less, but better. Because the soft life isn't about escaping effort. It's about choosing only the effort that matters. And when you do that, something beautiful happens. Life stops feeling heavy and starts feeling intentional. Once your life is lighter, once your time isn't crowded anymore, you finally have space. Space to build something smarter. Not more work, but systems. Because the real freedom comes next. Income. That doesn't need you every day. Chapter 11. Income that doesn't need you daily. Let me ask you something simple, but uncomfortable. If you didn't work tomorrow, would money still come in? Not next month. Not eventually. Tomorrow, while you sleep. Most people already know the answer, and they don't like it, because for most people, money only moves when they move. No work, no pay, no effort, no income. So every day becomes mandatory, not optional. You don't work because you want to. You work because you must. And that tiny difference changes everything, because must feels heavy, want feels light, must feels like survival, want feels like freedom. Right now, most people are surviving, not designing, not choosing, just showing up, so life doesn't collapse. That's not income. That's dependence. The invisible pressure. Even if you don't think about it, you feel it. That quiet pressure. Every morning. You can't fully relax. Because you know, if you stop too long, everything stops too. Bills don't pause. Rent doesn't pause. Life doesn't pause. So you can't pause either. Even when you're exhausted. That's the real weight. Not the work itself. It's the lack of choice. The lack of breathing room. Because when income needs you daily, you can never truly rest. A different kind of money. But there's another type of income. Quieter. Calmer. It doesn't scream. It doesn't rush you. It doesn't demand your presence every day. It just works. While you're asleep. While you're resting. While you're living. Money still flows. Softly. Consistently. Not because you showed up today, but because you built something earlier. That's different. Very different. Because now, time and money are no longer tied together. You're not selling hours. You're owning systems. And systems don't get tired. You do. Systems don't burn out. You do. Systems don't need motivation. You do. So which one sounds smarter to rely on? Your energy, or a system? The old way versus the new way. The old way says, work every day to earn every day. The new way says, build once, earn repeatedly. The old way says, trade time for money. The new way says, trade value for money. The old way says, be present or get nothing. The new way says, create something that stays present for you. One is exhausting. One is elegant. One burns you out. One frees you. What does income without you actually mean? Now slow down. Because this is important. This doesn't mean magic. It doesn't mean easy money. It doesn't mean doing nothing. That's fantasy. It means this. You work once, but you get paid many times. That's it. That's the whole idea. You put effort in one time, and the result keeps paying you back. Like planting a tree. You don't plant it every day. You plant once. Then it grows on its own. Year after year. Fruit keeps coming. That's how income should work. Not digging the same hole every day. Simple examples. Think about a book. Someone writes it once. Years later, people still buy it. The author isn't rewriting it daily, but income continues. Think about a video. Uploaded once. Watched thousands of times, while the creator sleeps. Think about a course. Built once. Sold again and again, without repeating the work. Notice the pattern. Create once. Earn many times. That's leverage. And leverage is gentle, because it removes pressure, instead of adding more effort. Why most people never do this? Here's the strange part. This isn't secret knowledge. Everyone knows this exists, but few people build it. Why? Because it feels slower at first. A job pays immediately. Systems take time. So people choose fast money, even if it costs their life later. They choose today's comfort over tomorrow's freedom. But calm wealth is always built slowly, quietly, intentionally. No rush, no panic. Just small things that keep paying forever. So maybe you don't need another job or another hustle. Maybe you just need one small asset. One small thing that earns without you. Not 10. Just one. A small digital product. A channel. A skill turned into something reusable. Something that exists, even when you're not working. Because the moment you build one, something changes inside you. You feel lighter, less desperate. Because now, money doesn't depend only on today. It depends on what you already built. And that feels safe. Not hustle safe. Design safe. The emotional difference. There's a huge emotional shift here that nobody talks about. When income depends only on your effort, you feel pressure. When income comes from systems, you feel space. Space to think. Space to breathe. Space to choose. And space is what peace feels like. That's the real goal. Not millions. Not flashy success. Just calm. The calm of knowing you don't have to run forever. The first step. So don't overcomplicate this. Don't try to build everything. Just ask yourself, what can I create once that pays repeatedly? One thing. Start there. Small. Simple. Sustainable. Because one small system is better than endless hustle. Imagine waking up one day and realizing money came in even though you didn't work yesterday. Not a lot maybe, but something. That small proof changes everything. Because now you know freedom isn't fantasy. It's design. And design can be built. So now you understand the idea. Income that doesn't need you daily. But the next question is, what do you actually build? What do you create if you don't feel special or expert? Good. Because that's exactly what we solve next. Chapter 12. Build once, get paid forever. There's a question most people never ask. Not because it's hard. Because it sounds impossible. Almost unrealistic. It sounds like fantasy, so they never even consider it. The question is simple. Very simple. What if money didn't need me every day? What if I didn't have to show up every single time to earn? Not lazy. Not quitting life. Just not required. Not attached. Because right now, your income is attached to you. Like a shadow. If you move, it moves. If you stop, it stops. If you get sick, it gets sick too. If you rest, it rests too. Which means your money isn't working. You are. Constantly. Think about that carefully. Money is supposed to work for you. But most people work for money forever. Every day. Until they're tired. Until they're old. Until they can't anymore. And nobody stops to ask, why is this the only way? The strange thing you never noticed. There's something strange about how we were taught to earn. Something nobody questions. If you want money, you must be present. If you're not present, no money. It's like your income has a rule. No body, no pay. So you trade hours. Every day. Hours for cash. Time for survival. But here's what nobody says out loud. Time is the only thing you never get back. Money returns. Energy returns. Time doesn't. Ever. So trading time forever is the most expensive trade you could make. You're paying with the only thing you can't refill. Your life. A small example. Let's slow this down. Make it real. Imagine two people. Same age. Same effort. Same intelligence. Person A works 8 hours every day. Gets paid daily. Stops working. Money stops. Person B spends 3 months building something once. Just once. A small system. A product. A video. A tool. A digital asset. After that, it keeps paying. While they sleep. While they travel. While they rest. Both worked. But only one keeps earning. One is trapped in time. The other escaped it. That difference changes your entire life. The word nobody taught you. There's a word for this. And it changes everything. Leverage. Quiet leverage. Leverage means one effort produces many results. Not one-to-one. One-to-many. Plant once. Harvest many times. Build once. Earn many times. Record once. Paid for years. Write once. Sold forever. Design once. Used thousands of times. That's how calm money works. Not constant hustle. Not pressure. Not daily exhaustion. Just smart placement of effort. In the right place. Why nobody teaches this? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Schools don't teach leverage. Jobs don't teach leverage. They can't. Because leverage makes you independent. And independence is hard to control. So you're taught obedience instead. Show up. Work hours. Repeat. Forever. But builders think differently. They ask different questions. Not how many hours should I work, but how can I work once and benefit many times? How can this keep paying without me? That question alone puts you in a different league. This isn't about becoming rich overnight. It's calmer than that. It's about reducing pressure, little by little. One small system, then another, until suddenly you don't feel desperate anymore. Because something is still earning, even when you're not trying. And that feeling is peace. Not hype. Peace. The kind where you wake up and don't feel chased. Because money isn't running away. It's already working. What build once actually looks like. Let's make this simple. No complexity. Build once can mean recording a helpful video, writing a small ebook, creating a template, designing a digital tool, making an online course, starting content. Something that exists even when you're offline. Something that works without your body. Not trading hours. Creating assets. Assets don't get tired. Assets don't need motivation. They just exist and keep producing while you live, while you breathe, while you enjoy your life, instead of chasing it. The emotional truth. And here's the part that matters most. This isn't about money. Not really. Money is just the surface. This is about freedom of energy, freedom of mind, freedom of time. Because when income doesn't depend on you every second, your life softens. You stop rushing. Stop panicking. You stop feeling like one bad day will ruin everything. Because everything isn't fragile anymore. It's supported by systems. Quiet systems. Gentle systems. Systems you built once that keep holding you. So maybe the goal was never work harder. Maybe it was always build smarter. Not more effort, better design. Because the soft life isn't laziness. It's leverage. It's intelligence. It's choosing once, so you don't have to choose every day. But here's the mistake most people make next. They think it has to be big. Huge ideas. Big risks. Massive projects. Overwhelming. It doesn't. Not at all. Because sometimes, tiny systems change everything. Small. Quiet. Simple. But powerful. In the next chapter, we shrink the pressure, and you'll see how something very small can quietly transform your entire life. Chapter 13. Tiny Systems, Big Results. Most people think change has to be big. Big moves. Big risks. Big sacrifices. Big plans. Big pressure. Like everything must be dramatic to matter. So when they hear build income or design your life, their brain immediately panics. That sounds hard. That sounds complicated. That sounds like too much. So they don't start. Not because they're lazy. Because it feels heavy. Overwhelming. And anything that feels overwhelming gets postponed. Postponed becomes later. Later becomes never. So life stays the same. Not worse. Not better. Just stuck. Quietly stuck. The mistake everyone makes. Here's the mistake most people make. They try to change everything at once. New habits. New income. New schedule. New goals. All in 1 week. It feels exciting at first. Motivating. Then exhausting. Very exhausting. Because you're using willpower. And willpower runs out fast. So after a few days, you collapse back to normal. And you think, maybe I'm just not disciplined. But it's not discipline. It's design. You tried to lift a mountain, instead of moving one stone. A quieter truth. Let me tell you something softer. Something calmer. Big changes rarely last. Small systems do. Tiny things. Almost boring things. The kind of things you don't even notice at first. But they quietly reshape everything. Because systems don't rely on motivation. They rely on structure. And structure doesn't get tired. Think about your life. Look at your current life. Right now. Most of what you do daily isn't a decision. It's automatic. Habit. Routine. You don't decide to brush your teeth. You just do. You don't decide which app to open first. Your hand just moves. You don't decide your route to work. Your body already knows. That's a system. Running quietly. No thinking. No effort. Now imagine, if your income worked like that too. Automatic. Quiet. Not forced every day. Just flowing. That's not magic. That's design. The power of tiny. Tiny sounds weak. But tiny is powerful. Because tiny is sustainable. Tiny is repeatable. Tiny doesn't scare you. So you actually start. And starting is everything. Let's make this real. Very real. One small asset. Imagine you create one small digital product. Just one. Not perfect. Not massive. Just helpful. Simple. You spend one weekend making it. That's all. Then you post it online. And forget about it. Every few days, someone buys. Small money. Nothing crazy. But it happens, without you. While you're sleeping. While you're walking. While you're living. Not working. That's tiny. But powerful. Because now you have proof. Money can move without you. That one proof changes your entire mind. One simple automation. Or imagine this. You automate your bills. Everything pays itself. No mental load. No did I forget. No stress. It's small. But suddenly, your brain feels lighter. Calmer. Because you removed friction. Not added effort. That's the secret. This is the secret nobody teaches. You don't build freedom with big heroic effort. You build it with tiny quiet systems, stacked slowly. One small thing, then another, until your life feels different. Not because you worked harder, but because you removed struggle. The compounding effect. Tiny systems compound, like interest. One small stream, then two, then three. None of them impressive alone, but together. Peace, stability. You stop feeling desperate, because something is always working, always moving, even when you aren't. And that feeling is safety. Not job security. Real security. Why this beats hustle? Hustle says, do more today. Systems say, do once, benefit forever. Hustle burns energy. Systems protect energy. Hustle depends on mood. Systems ignore mood. Hustle feels heavy. Systems feel light. Which one sounds sustainable? Exactly. Emotional truth. You don't want millions overnight. Not really. What you actually want is calm. To wake up without pressure. To breathe. To know you're okay, even if you slow down. That's what tiny systems give you. Quiet stability. Not flashy. Not loud. Just safe, gentle. And gentle is sustainable. So maybe your life doesn't need a big overhaul. Maybe it just needs small adjustments. One tiny system today. One tomorrow. Nothing dramatic. Just consistent. Because small done daily beats big done once. Every time. At this point, something has already changed. You're not chasing anymore. You're not waking up wondering, how do I work more today? You're starting to ask something smarter. How do I work less and still move forward? That question changes everything. Because once content starts earning for you, once your ideas start working without you, you feel it. That small shift. For the first time, money isn't fully tied to your presence. You don't have to be on every second. You don't have to push every day. Something you built is quietly working in the background. And that feeling? It's different. It's not excitement. It's not hype. It's calmer than that. Safer. It feels like breathing room. Like space. Like life isn't sitting on your chest anymore. Like you finally loosened the weight. But here's the truth most people miss. This is only the beginning. Because right now, you still touch everything. You still check. Still post. Still respond. Still manage. The system helps, but you're still inside it. And there's another level. A quieter level. Where even less depends on you. Where things run. Without your constant attention. Not because you're lazy, but because you designed it that way. Because the goal was never to work forever. It was to build once, and let the work continue without you. Like a current that keeps flowing. This is where leverage lives. This is where freedom deepens. Not hustle. Not effort. Systems, running quietly in the background. So now, we stop doing more and start removing yourself even further, gently, intentionally, because the less your life depends on constant effort, the lighter your life becomes. And light is the whole point. Let's talk about that next. How to build systems that run without you. How to make work automatic and freedom repeatable. Chapter 14. Automation and Leverage. Work once. Let life carry you. There's a different kind of tired. Not the tired you feel after a long day. Not the tired that sleep fixes. But the tired that comes from being needed all the time. Needed at work. Needed at home. Needed by messages. Needed by deadlines. Everywhere you turn, something is calling your name. Do this. Answer that. Handle this. Fix that. Always something. And even when you rest, your mind doesn't. Because you know something. The moment you stop, everything stops too. Income stops. Progress stops. Growth stops. Life pauses, unless you push it. So you never really relax. You just pause briefly. Before the next demand. That's not work. That's dependence. And most people don't realize they built their life like this by accident. A life where everything depends on them. Their energy, their presence, their constant effort. If you don't show up, nothing moves. Which sounds responsible, until you feel the weight of it. Because being responsible for everything is exhausting. Not dramatic, just heavy. Like carrying buckets of water every day. Instead of building a pipe once. Buckets mean daily effort. Pipes mean flow. And here's the truth most people never hear. You don't need more strength. You need fewer buckets. And more pipes. The quiet secret. Look closely at calm people. The ones who never seem rushed. They're not superhuman. They're not working harder. They just aren't needed every second. Because they design things that work without them. Money comes in, even when they're sleeping. Tasks get done, without constant supervision. Progress happens, without daily exhaustion. Not magic. Leverage. Automation. Systems. Quiet helpers. Little machines you build once, that keep working forever. Imagine this. Imagine waking up, and nothing is urgent. No fire to put out. No panic. Just calm. Slow breathing. You check your phone. Money came in. Not because you worked this morning, but because something you built months ago kept working. A video, a product, a system, something small. You didn't hustle today, but progress still happened. That feeling is different. It's not excitement, it's peace. And peace is the real luxury. The mistake most people make. Most people try to earn more, instead of needing less effort. They chase bigger paychecks, but keep the same dependence. So their income grows, but their freedom doesn't. More money, same stress. That's not wealth. That's a heavier job. Automation flips the game. It asks a different question. Not, how can I work more? But, how can this work without me? That one question changes everything. Leverage explained gently. Leverage is simple. It's not complicated. It just means your effort continues. After you stop, you record once. People watch forever. You build once. People buy forever. You design once. It runs forever. One action. Long reward. Instead of daily action. Daily survival. See the difference? Emotional truth. The reason you're tired is not because you're weak. It's because everything depends on you. Every single thing. Anyone would break under that weight. Anyone. So don't blame yourself. Redesign your life. Small systems. Here's something beautiful. You don't need giant systems. Tiny ones work too. Small automations. Simple setups. Little flows. A savings auto-transfer. An email sequence. A digital product. A video library. A tool that sells itself. Nothing dramatic. But together, they remove pressure. And when pressure disappears, life feels lighter. The new goal. Stop trying to be needed. Start trying to be free. Stop building a life that collapses without you. Start building one that runs quietly. Because success shouldn't feel like babysitting your life. It should feel like steering it. Gently, calmly, without rush. From this chapter forward, you stop asking, how can I push more? And start asking, what can I build once? That keeps working. That's automation. That's leverage. That's the soft life. One day, you'll wake up and notice something strange. Your phone is quiet. Your mind is quiet. Money still moves. Progress still happens. But you're not rushing anymore. You're just living. Slow mornings. Clear thoughts. Work that feels intentional, not desperate. And you'll realize, this is what life was supposed to feel like all along. Not heavy. Gentle. Not constant effort. Quiet flow. Not hustle. Design. Because once systems start working, something changes. You stop surviving and start choosing. And that's when the real question appears. If life doesn't have to be heavy, how do you design it, on purpose? Chapter 15, Designing Your Gentle Life. Choosing a life that doesn't feel heavy. There's something strange that happens when life finally slows down. At first, you don't trust it. You wake up, and nothing is urgent. No panic. No pressure. No voice screaming, "You're late." And instead of peace, you feel confused. Because you're not used to calm. You're used to survival. You're used to rushing, reacting, fixing. You're used to your heart racing before your feet even touch the floor. So when life gets quiet, it almost feels wrong. Like you forgot something. Like you should be doing more. But here's the truth. And it might feel uncomfortable at first. You were never meant to live in constant pressure. You just got used to it, like carrying a heavy backpack for years. After a while, you forget how light your body is supposed to feel. Then one day, you take it off. And you realize you were never weak. It was just the weight. The life you accidentally built. Most people didn't choose a stressful life. They drifted into one. One yes at a time. One obligation at a time. One I'll rest later at a time. Until later never came. Until their calendar owned them. Their phone owned them. Their bills owned them. And somewhere in the middle of being responsible, they forgot to feel alive. Not depressed. Not broken. Just tired. Tired in a quiet way. The kind of tired sleep doesn't fix. Because it's not physical. It's structural. Your life was built heavy. Of course it feels heavy. The gentle realization. But now, after everything you've learned, something changes. You stop asking, how do I survive this life? And start asking, how do I design one I don't need to escape from? Feel the difference. Survival versus design. One is reactive. The other is intentional. And intentional lives feel lighter. A different picture. Picture this slowly. Not fantasy. Not luxury. Just normal. But peaceful. You wake up naturally. Not to an alarm you hate. Sunlight through the window. Quiet room. You stretch. No rush. You check your phone. Money came in. Not because you worked this morning, but because something you built months ago kept working. A system. A small machine. Your effort, from the past, taking care of the present. So today, you get to choose. Not react. Choose. Work because you want to. Rest because you can. Create because it feels good. Not because you're scared. That's wealth. Not numbers. Not status. Choice. The real definition of success. Nobody tells you this growing up. But success isn't more. It's lighter. Less friction. Less chaos. Less pressure. More space. More control. More breathing room. If your success makes you anxious, it's not success. If your money costs your peace, it's too expensive. If your life feels like constant effort, it's poorly designed. And design can always be changed. The permission nobody gave you. Maybe nobody ever said this to you. So let me say it clearly. You are allowed to live gently. You're allowed to want ease. You're allowed to want calm. Without guilt. Without shame. Without calling yourself lazy. Peace is not laziness. It's intelligence. It means you stopped fighting life and started building it properly. The quiet power. The strongest people you'll ever meet don't look stressed. They don't look frantic. They look grounded. Slow movements. Clear eyes. Calm voice. Because nothing owns them. Not their job. Not their schedule. Not money. They own those things. That's leverage. That's freedom. So from today, you stop chasing. Stop forcing. Stop proving. And start asking one question. How can this be lighter? How can this require less effort? How can this run without me? How can this feel gentle? Because gentle doesn't mean small. It means sustainable. And sustainable wins long term. Years from now, you won't remember how hard you hustled. You'll remember how you felt. Calm or stressed. Present or distracted. Alive or exhausted. So choose carefully, because life isn't meant to be survived. It's meant to be lived. Slowly. Gently. On purpose. And from this moment on, you don't chase success. You design it. You don't grind for freedom. You build systems that protect it. You don't fight life anymore. You flow with it. Soft. Calm. Steady. This is the formula. The soft life formula. And now, you finally know how to use it. You don't have to live heavy anymore. Before you go, I want you to slow down for a second. Don't rush to the next thing. Don't grab your phone yet. Just breathe. Let everything you heard settle. Because this wasn't just information. It was permission. Permission to stop fighting life. Permission to stop proving yourself every day. Permission to stop carrying everything alone. For so long, you thought life had to feel heavy. Like struggle was normal. Like exhaustion meant you were doing it right. Like peace was something you earn later. After the grind. After the stress. After you make it. But now you know something different. Something most people never learn. Life isn't supposed to feel like survival. It's supposed to feel like living. And living can be gentle. Not lazy. Not small. Gentle. Calm. Steady. Intentional. The kind of life where you don't wake up anxious. Where money doesn't scare you. Where time isn't chasing you. Where your days feel light, not heavy. And here's the beautiful part. You don't need permission from anyone else to build that life. Not your job. Not society. Not family. You decide. Quietly. Slowly. On purpose. One small system. One better decision. One lighter choice at a time. That's how soft lives are built. Not dramatically. Gently. Day by day. So when this audiobook ends, don't feel pressured to change everything tonight. Don't rush. Don't overwhelm yourself. Just start small. Remove one weight. Simplify one thing. Build one tiny system. That's enough. Because small calm steps beat big chaotic ones. Every time. And maybe, weeks from now, you'll wake up one morning and notice something strange. Your chest feels lighter. Your mind feels quieter. Your life feels easier. Not because you got lucky, but because you designed it. On purpose. That's the moment you'll smile. And realize, I'm not chasing life anymore. Life is finally working with me. And when that happens, I hope you remember this moment. This beginning. This quiet decision to do things differently. If this helped you, if even one sentence felt like it was speaking directly to you, share it with someone you care about. Someone tired. Someone overwhelmed. Someone silently carrying too much. Because sometimes, one calm voice can change someone's whole direction. Maybe this becomes that voice for them. And if you ever feel life getting heavy again, come back. Play this again. Let it remind you. You don't have to hustle your way through existence. You can design your way into peace. Slow, soft, intentional, alive. This is your life now. Build it gently, and I'll see you in the next one. If this message spoke to you, share it, subscribe, keep listening. This is Beyond the Noise Studio.